Today, I am speaking to Joanne, who shares how growing up in a family of 9 taught her how to eat fast and left her struggling with portions for years. We talk about the challenges of menopause, caregiving, and weight gain, and how Joanne used the shift process to create a powerful vision that helped her achieve and now maintain her ideal weight. So come on in. Did you know that our struggle with weight doesn't start with the food on your plate or get fixed in the gym?
Welcome to
80% of our
September,
weight
everyone.
struggle
Come
is
on
mental.
in. It's great
That's
to
right.
have you
The
here. Thank
key
you for
to
coming.
unlocking
It's so
long-term
great
weight
to
release and management
see you, and thank you
begins
for
in
being
your
here week
mind.
after week for
Hi
our
there, I'm Rita
ongoing
Black.
conversation
I'm a clinical
about weight
hypnotherapist,
management,
weight loss
mindset.
expert, best-selling author, and the creator of the Shift Weight Mastery process. And not only have I helped thousands of people over the past 20 years achieve long-term weight mastery, I am also a former weight struggler, carb addict, and binge eater. And after 2 decades of failed diets and fad weight loss programs, I lost 40 pounds with the help of hypnosis. Not only did I release all that weight, I have kept it off for 25 years. Enter the Thin Thinking podcast, where you too will learn how to remove the mental roadblocks that keep you struggling. I'll give you the thin thinking tools, skills, and insights to help you develop the mindset you need, not only to achieve your ideal weight, but to stay there long term and live your best life. Sound good? Let's get started. I am looking forward to introducing you to Joanne, who has released over 60 pounds, and you are going to love her and all the tidbits from the interview. Now, truth be told, during the interview, I had a little mental blip on a term that came up when Joanne was talking about it. When you lose weight on a diet and you think you know it all, and then you're like, okay, I've got it from here, and then it all falls apart. It's related to this thing that I am now going to talk to you about called the Dunning-Kruger effect. I could not remember it at the time when I spoke with Joanne. I was really like, it's one of those things like, I've got to remember that thing. After the interview, I remembered it. And I want to talk to you a little bit about it because it's super fascinating. And before we dive in with Joanne, because the Dunning-Kruger effect is just a well-documented cognitive bias where people with low ability, low knowledge, or low expertise in a certain area tend to overestimate their competence. This is just a real brain thing. And why it happens is lack of awareness or self-awareness. Incompetence tends to rob people not only of the ability to do something well, but also of the ability to recognize that they're doing it poorly. And then also, secondly, metacognition gap. To accurately judge skill, you need the very knowledge and skills that you may be lacking. And third, the illusion of superiority. I love that. The illusion of superiority. People often want to see themselves in a positive light, which fuels overconfidence. So this all falls along what they call the classic curve. The effect is often illustrated with a curve that looks like this. The first one is peak of Mount Stupid. And that's right. You heard me that right. That's Mount Stupid, like a mountain called Stupid. And that is where beginners gain a little knowledge and feel overconfident. And then the second is the Valley of Despair. As they learn more, they realize how much they don't know, and confidence plummets. Third, slope of enlightenment. With sustained practice, competence grows alongside more realistic self-assessment. And lastly, plateau of mastery. True experts recognize both their strengths and their limits of their knowledge. Interesting, huh? So examples would be a new driver who thinks they're already great at driving after a few lessons, AKA my son. And then I love this one, a novice investor. How many of you know somebody like this? A novice investor who believes that they can easily beat the market after reading one article, AKA my husband. So in short, the Dunning-Kruger effect is about the double burden of incompetence people are not only wrong, but too unskilled to know that they're wrong. And I think that this really distinguishes the difference between diets and trying to lose weight. Because often we lose weight on a diet and we learn the diet really well. And we say, I've got this weight loss thing down because we know this diet. But because we really haven't adapted and learned, like really learned the mindset and skills of weight management, we're just doing the diet, we quickly end up seeing that we really actually in that valley of despair, recognizing that we really don't know everything that we need to know and all unravels and we end up gaining the weight back and being in that valley of despair, like I said. So true weight mastery, like what we really focus on in the shift weight mastery process, is really about building skills from the inside out and really working on that enlightenment, moving into mastery mindset. And we do have our live fall 2025 shift weight mastery process coming up very soon. We have a few places left. It begins on the 17th with over a week of prep, and then we dive on the 26th of September into a 30-day process with daily hypnosis, meditation, and coaching. I say it's live, but it's online live. And there's only certain live elements to it, but you can go to www.shiftweightmastery.com/fall, FALL, to learn more. And the next time we will be doing a live event like this will be in the spring. So in April, I believe. If you want to catch it, now is a great time. There's just so much great information. If you go to www.shiftweightmastery.com/fall, you can learn all about it, all about our guarantee, all about the dates. Everything you know is on that page. So please go check it out. And you now are going to dive in with me to my interview with Joanne, who will actually also be a coach at this upcoming shift. We are here with the lovely Joanne on the Thin Thinking podcast. Welcome, Joanne, in Massachusetts.
Glad to be here.
We were just chatting away, and I said, wait, we've got to turn on record. So thank you for being here. Joanne is newly celebrating maintenance. So we were talking about that, and we'll talk about that a little later. But I wanted to thank you for being here today. And just to say how I usually like to start our conversations is to ask you to tell us a little bit about your beginning story, your origin story of struggling with weight, as we all have been there.
I've yo-yoed for years, up and down. And when I was raising children, I'd lose a little bit and then I always put myself last. And I was never really an unhealthy eater, or it was more portions.
Yeah.
Definitely portions was more my issue.
Can I ask you how old you were when you first knew you were struggling with weight?
I always felt, even when I was in junior high, like my pooch, I used to look at my what I call my pooch and look at other people and say, I don't have one. So I think I always felt like that, probably from junior high on, you know,
Okay.
that I
Did you
wasn't
know?
happy with where I was.
And I think also you and I grew up in that 70s aesthetic, which was super skinny and, you know,
Yeah.
the skinny jeans and the skinny
Mhm.
girls. And what was I going to ask you? Oh, you mentioned coming from a big family. How big was your family?
I was the youngest of 9.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. And because we were talking about sitting down to meals with your parents and
Mhm.
you had food in front of you. And I remember I wasn't in a big family, but there were three kids in my family, but I remember because my parents were raised in the Depression, ate what was put in front of you. And there was
Mhm.
this competition eating going on because it was like,
Mhm.
if you didn't grab it, somebody else was. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think it was, yes, yes, I think there was a lot of that too. 'Cause I tend to eat very fast, and I think that all came from back then too.
There's something primitive about that, I am sure, because I've talked to a lot of women. They were thinner before they got into a relationship, like with their husbands or a boyfriend. And then
Mhm.
once they started sitting down with a man and they were eating more portions, there was
Mhm.
this sort of like, I don't want to call it competitive eating, but matching what they're doing. And it's like totally subconscious. I don't know.
Mhm.
What do you think?
I just think we I'm not really sure. I just know that I always eat really fast, but I have slowed down a lot because now I know to take breaths.
Yeah.
I don't know where, like you said, maybe that does come from something very primitive in our
Well,
ancestry where we
I
just
yeah,
eat.
I can
Yeah.
only imagine too, being in a clan as big as yours, that there was just that energy when you sat down to a table with
Yes, and
many
I
other
and a
people.
lot of boys. There was only 6 boys and 3 girls, and there was a very
Oh,
large age difference between myself and the girls, the other girls.
okay.
I was the youngest, and they were in the older sets. A lot of boy, a lot of testosterone energy, yes.
Wow, that's and did you guys have a dining room table big enough to
Uh,
accommodate all of you, or
we had
how
a
did you guys
big kitchen table. I was at but when if all of us were to get I always joke that I was at the kids' table till I was in my 20s or something. I always joke about that.
so there was a 2 tables, like, for the adults and then for the
On
older.
holidays and whatnot, there was, yes, for sure.
Oh, funny. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah.
So you started off, like, feeling a little insecure about your body. What was the first diet
Mhm.
that you went on? Like, when did you first try to manage
Um,
it?
I never went on any other than the program many of us have been to with the meetings. Uh-huh.
Joanne and I were joking, we will call it the program that will not be named.
I went on Weight Watchers when probably in my 30s because I did lose weight, like, well, I got married late in my late 20s,
Okay.
lost a lot of weight just from stress, and
Mhm.
then and so it's like, "Oh, I didn't even try," but then I got pregnant, like, immediately, and I gained all that back and a whole lot more. And so probably in my 30s after I had both my kids is when I really started to I do have a memory though when I was in my early 20s, a man I worked with, I don't know why you would tell a young girl this. He said, "Oh, I saw you outside the other day and I pointed to you and for my son and but he told me you were fat." And
Okay, there's 2 things completely, like, your jaw would drop, like, not only is you I was pointing at you for my son.
and I'm 65 now and I remember that very vividly.
Oh, yeah, I
So,
remember
yeah.
those remarks too. Oh, and people said them with such ease.
Yeah, why would you say that to somebody? And I
Like,
think back and I'm like, I wasn't really fat. I wasn't a twig, but I wasn't really fat.
oh, yeah,
I
the
just
male gaze,
whatever,
that whole
you know,
thing, and
barometer is.
yeah, the whole yeah, that's also wrong. But anyway,
Yes.
okay, so that kind of hit a chord within you.
Yeah, yeah. As long as I lived at home, there was a lot of lived at home with my parents, there was a lot of approval too, I think, about around eating, like eating everything and that kind of thing.
Yeah, you're a good
But
girl,
it
you cleaned your plate.
Yeah, yeah, that kinda stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in my 30s and 40s, I'd go up and down a little bit, up and down. In fact, I was just watching my retirement video a couple days ago, and I could see even in I could notice my weight fluctuate through the years. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's when I was." So it's interesting. And then in my mid-50s, I lost a significant amount and then swore that was it. I was so proud because I had never been that successful and swore I would never, ever be back there again. And then lo and behold, a lot of stuff happened. And then I ended up gaining it all back and then some.
I know you were mentioning that you were care caregiving, and that was a time when you were remind me, so that your timeline was your mom was sick and you were taking care of
Mhm.
her, and that
Right.
was when you were on gaining back, or when you were making a decision to
I
take
actually
care of
was doing really well because I was making sure I did take care of myself while I was taking care of her. Actually, her last lucid words to me were, "Take care of your health." So
her?
now I always that's been resonating with me lately. She would be very proud. So, yes, and then but then it was creeping back right after she passed. It had started creeping, and I'd say, "Oh, it's only a few pounds. It's only a few pounds," and then my best friend it was less than a year, maybe a year and a half later, got a terrible diagnosis. So I was a caretaker again for her because she became paralyzed. And when
Um,
people are ill, what do people bring? They bring casseroles. So
mm,
every night I would go over there and as a joke say, "Oh, what are we having for dinner tonight?" And it would be whatever casserole was there. And so
hamburger helper
it
and
was a lot of
a casserole.
a lot of rich casseroles.
Yeah.
And then over time, yeah, I think it just a lot happened and it just and then COVID and then she passed, then COVID happened, and I think we all had weight issues,
Yeah, COVID
during that
was,
time.
just a carb festival, a
Yeah.
festival of carbs. I wanna go back to when you released a lot of weight on the
Mhm.
program that shall not be named. No, I'm kidding. I know you released like 40 something pounds,
46 pounds,
46
yeah.
pounds, and I remember going to Weight Watchers and way back in the day, and it
Mhm.
was back when you had your little card. Did you ever go
Yep.
with the
Oh,
card,
yeah.
write
Had
your
the
weight
card.
down and the whole thing? Okay. I think we all have that emblazoned
Had
in
the
the
little
back of our
points
brain.
finder, yeah. I had the little points finder that you spun, yeah.
Oh, I now see, I didn't have that.
Yeah.
I was old school Weight Watchers before points, like way
Yep.
old school. But
Yep.
Joanne, you mentioned something that I wanted to talk about a little bit, which was
Mhm.
reaching your ideal weight or losing that weight,
Mm.
going, I'm good now. I'm good.
Mhm.
I don't need to go back to the meetings. I don't need to go. And again, I'm not either here nor there about meetings, but I wanted to just talk about that little I'm good mindset because I think our listeners will, I'm not just talking about you, but I'm just talking about this general,
Mhm.
like we get, it's this weird brain thing. It's not
Mhm.
us. Like we'll get to that ideal way and we'll be like, okay, I've got it now. Like it is,
Mhm.
I've got it now. I've got it. I'm
Exactly.
good.
I
I'm
don't
good.
really have to measure, I can eyeball that, I'm
You
good.
know, I'm good. I can loosen my grip
Yeah.
and I'm good. And it is, we ran the race. The race is over. We get our prize. And
Mhm.
then, and I was telling to Joanne, there is a brain thing and it's called something, and I don't know the name of it. And I could ask ChatGPT, I'm sure. But anyway, I'm sure you all can relate to this feeling of hubris that is, I have it now. And then, but we don't have it at all. Like we have it all. It's a fake sort of got it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then that's when things start to spiral. And then from an inside out perspective, I don't have it. And then there's this fear and frantic trying to grasp it back. And
And
that's
then I
when
don't wanna get on the scale either, and then it gets to
you
a
don't
point where
want to
it's
get
like,
on the
I don't
scale
wanna get
and
on the
you're
scale
trying
because 'cause
to
I'm
get,
scared.
and then
Yeah.
you get into major restriction, like, I gained 5 pounds. I got to just be good. And then
Yeah.
that starts that boomerang, like being good, being bad, and then
Mm.
back in the old
Mhm.
familiar territory. But I just
Exactly.
wanted to thank you for just letting me sidetrack us over to that
Mhm.
because it is such a familiar place for a lot of people. And I just want you to know it's not your fault. Our brain will just do that.
Yeah.
It's super weird and you got to be aware of it. Like that,
Mhm.
like, I'm good. I got it. You
Yeah.
know?
I ate that last time and I gained weight, or I didn't gain weight, so I can eat it again and not gain that kinda thing.
Yeah.
A lot of that too.
Yeah, and then we do enough of that hooks our carb zombie, and then we're off to the races,
Yeah.
the whole thing. And then unfortunately, it sounds like you had, as we all do at some point in our life,
Mhm.
a number of just like your mom passed, your friend
Mhm.
passed, and it was
Yeah.
just like one thing after the other.
Right.
And
Right.
so it was not only just trying to manage your weight, but trying to manage your life
Mm.
and your inner life. Did you emotionally eat in that time, or was it just you were not aware of portions and you were just overeating
Um,
portions?
I probably did. I know when I went out to my friend's house and I was eating casseroles, I'm sure part of that was emotional for sure,
Yeah.
without realizing it was. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Mm.
Yeah, and like you said, we do and I was thinking today, like, I have my sister has cancer and
I'm
some
so
other things,
sorry.
and I'm like, there will always be things in life that are like you just said, there's always gonna be things. Yeah, so I but
Mm.
at the time, I was like, "Maybe my body's hanging on to all that stuff that happened."
You had also mentioned menopause, and
Yeah.
we were talking about, I don't want to call it a myth, but I want to
Mhm.
call it like there's a lot of marketing and a lot
A
of just
lot
mythology around not being able to lose weight when you're in
when you're
menopause.
in menopause.
And you lost all that weight with Weight Watchers during menopause, and then
Correct.
you did gain
Yeah,
it back, but then you've lost almost 60
right.
pounds. I think there's this thing that I know from measuring metabolisms that our metabolism does decline during menopause. So if you cannot eat the same amount that you used to eat,
prior to
Yeah,
menopause for most
right.
women and
Yeah,
expect to weigh the same. You just can't.
right.
Like,
My doctor had said that.
yeah, and that's once you own that and not become a victim of it, woe is me, but hey, menopause sucks, but that's one of the rules of menopause is like your metabolism. Mine, because I
Mhm,
measured mine, declined somewhere between 250 and 300 calories per day, which is a lot. And that is if you didn't check, that's a pound per week.
mm,
You can
yeah,
chug on some weight really fast if you're not
yeah,
becoming so. The thing with menopause, I say it's more of a mental reset than a physical one because you have
mhm,
to just re-see what is enough for
mm,
you and your
mhm,
body at this point in your life. And definitely feeding your body because I don't know if you felt this, but when we hit menopause, we all know our hormones change, but our blood sugar insulin sensitivity changes.
mhm,
But if you I remember I have so many students and clients who will say, I never had a problem with alcohol before, and now I'm drinking more. Or I never had a problem with sweets before, and now I'm just like this total carboholic.
mm,
And so if you're not aware of that, if you're not aware of the decline, yeah, it can seem like I cannot lose weight if your expectation is you should be able to lose it just by making a little alteration, but it's
mm,
really a mental reset. Anyway, I thought
yeah,
I would digress and just mention
yeah,
our listeners who are maybe
it
in postmenopausal as well. It's just like menopause into postmenopause, our
mhm,
metabolism declines, our body's chemistry does change. So we do need to attune to that, but it's completely doable. It's not
mhm,
that bad. Once
mhm,
you take charge of it, it's just okay, cool. I
right.
got this.
And I also know, like, my body, I have to if I don't move my body, that it comes
Yes.
on real fast. That I know about myself for sure.
Yeah. And I think also tuning into everything that's being said now about muscle retention and just that we as older women just to move our butts and definitely exercise our muscles. Now, what brought you to hypnosis? What was your like journey there? And you were here, you were in, it
Yeah.
was, yeah, like it was post COVID, you were
Mhm.
traveling,
It
you and your
was
life,
really
like your grandkids had been born or,
yes, I had a grandchild born in 2021 and 2023, and it was like, I knew that there was a lot of clothes I couldn't fit into, but it was really when I saw pictures with my
mm,
grandkids and I went, "Oh my," I couldn't believe how big I looked in the pictures, even bigger than what I saw in the mirror. I was like, "Wow." And then I got on the scale one day and I really said, "Wow." They were numbers that were scary to me.
yeah.
Or 200 wasn't all that far away, and for me, that was and my doctor had mentioned it to me last year at our my appointment. She had mentioned my weight to me, and she told me to just eat a little old lady does, like, just eat a little bit. But this year, she wanted your name, and she wrote your name down. Yeah, because I just saw her not long ago, and
Oh, that's sweet.
she was very pleased. And I had hypnosis for some reason in the back of my head because I know people who had lost or had quit smoking through the years
Yeah.
on hypnosis. And you just popped up one day on social media. It was either Instagram, like I said, or Facebook. And there you were offering your master class. And I said, it's free. Why not? I'll try it. And I'll tell you, I felt a shift from that very first day. I just, something shifted in me. And I joined after that and have been religiously following. And it's been wonderful. It's really been just an incredible journey. And that I love learning. I'm like, oh, that's just learning about what it was. Oh, it was the rebel that would say, well, you only live once. You can eat that or that kind of stuff. And
Learning about all the different parts in you.
yes, and I was like, "Oh, that explains it. That explains things that happened and the inner coach," and that I've just loved, and just the mind shift of I love when you said I don't say anymore because I was great at saying, "I can't eat that. I can't eat that," and you have allowed me to reframe and saying, "I choose not to eat that," and it
Yeah.
really does make a difference.
Oh, yeah.
I choose not to eat that. Of course, I can eat it. I have a choice not to eat it.
Yeah.
And
Gives
just
you
all
agency.
yes, because I'm like, she's right. Of course, I could choose to eat it. I choose not to. So just all the mindfulness that you have provided has been just amazing and the 9 skills. And there's just So many, I just can't say enough about the process. I didn't, and I think I told you I didn't like the calorie thing at first, and I
Yeah.
was it was a
Who
very
does? I
scary
don't
word.
think there's ever been a person who's, you know what, Rita, I am just so excited about tracking
It's a
calories.
scary word, I think, for many of us.
It's a PTSD word because
Maybe that's yeah.
it really takes us into because I've thought long and hard about this because Joanne's talking about, for those of you who are not shifted or haven't done the process, is we track calories. But as scientists and as to use our brain more effectively rather than being a dieter and here's 1,200 calories and you've got to it's like you're being allotted. I want to say it puts us in that shame place we all felt when we were dieting and
Mhm.
everybody else around us could eat whatever they wanted and we
Mm,
were like, you can only have this because you are this,
yeah,
you're a failure and or you're fat or you're not a and so you're one of those people. So go sit in the corner and count your calories.
yeah, yeah.
It's this whole deep, dark thing. And I think that what we are about is getting clear. And maybe you can talk about like what your experience of that was. So you were bummed. You were like, dang, I got to count
Yeah,
calories. Damn it.
and but you explained it so well in one of your in our shift process, you explained it so well, and I always take notes about that it's an energy, that it's a unit of energy.
Yeah.
That's and you explained the 3,500 calories would be a pound, and it all made sense, and I have learned so much from my app, and I use Lose It, and I've learned so much about the content of the food, the carbs and the protein, and it's just I don't really look at the calories so much. Sometimes my friend will say, "Oh my gosh, that's a lot for a snack," because she just started. And she'll say, "How many calories?" And I'll say 150 or whatever. She goes, "Oh, that's a lot for a snack." And so it's
Oh,
still
newbies.
yeah, yeah. So it's funny.
Can I just pause and talk about something that you're talking
Mhm.
about that is tuning into your body and using calories to really go, oh, what's the value of this? Looking at, oh, it's 150 calories, but what is the value? Like it's going to utilize me for 3 hours. It's going to keep me going. And within the context of what my body's energy needs for weight release are, it's not a big percentage. So I'm cool. So it allows you agency, allows you to make your own choices. You don't have to pay
Mhm.
attention to anything outside other than what works for you and your body at
Right.
whatever time. So
Exactly.
that's part of it. But I think it also allows because people are like, I'm a mindful eater. I was like, this actually allows you to be, and because mindful eating can be weirdly good and bad as well, because we've been like, I wasn't mindful when I ate. So I was bad. Or I was
Mhm.
rather than going, I think of mindful eating as, oh, when I eat this, I know I'm going to feel like this. And I choose this because of how I want to
Mhm.
feel. Or I'm choosing this treat,
Mhm.
this caloric, decadent treat because I can and I really want that and I'm going to really enjoy it and savor it. I don't know. I just wanted to say that too because I always like talking about the layers of complexity of this that is so nuanced. I think people don't it's so black and white for people, but really it's so gray
Right.
and it allows you access to so much information about yourself and about your body and how it
Mhm.
works and how it processes food. So anyway, now we can move on. So anyway, so but now the hypnosis for you, for people who haven't done hypnosis yet or don't know, like like, did you have any fear about like mind control or were you, because you were seeking it out, not so worried about that?
No, it wasn't, no. I was hoping that it would do what it did, and it
Okay.
did.
Okay.
That I really shifted in just the vision of, yeah, I don't really want that, or I can eat just this amount, and how hungry am I? Because I don't ever get to that awful feeling anymore.
Talk to us
The
about that.
hunger.
Like, what was the change for you in your process? You know, you said you were a healthy eater, but you just ate too much. And I think
Mostly,
a lot of
yeah.
people can relate to that.
Yeah. I probably was like an 80-20 person, and but it was like I said, I love salad, but it would be I could eat 3 huge bowls of salad or popcorn. It was my great. It is, I'll say that was my snack. I love popcorn, but I make it on the stove. It's not a high caloric snack, but I
Right.
could eat the whole pan. And since I've been shifting, I can probably count the number of times I've made popcorn, eat it earlier in the day, and I can stop after 2, 3 cups. And because I want to, and I just don't have the desire to have more. So, yeah, it's been the portions for me, and knowing when you and I talked about it earlier about when we were kids, we were from that generation, you were expected to finish your food. There was a lot of guilt. Knowing that I was at breakfast with my sister yesterday, brunch, and there was tater tots, which I love. I had a couple, and then I left a ton on the plate, like knowing that it's okay. I don't have to finish everything. It's okay to send it to not eat it
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. I think negotiating that, like learning to get past that guilt, when
Yeah.
you came from that sort of upbringing where it was a big deal if you left food on your plate. Yeah, that's huge. But then also negotiating the part of you, the little kid in you that's, I want more. And being, I think that's powerful.
The 3-bite rule has been really worked well too. I
Mm.
think that really was very helpful too.
Yeah. Joanne's talking about like after 3 bites, the pleasure you get from most foods diminishes greatly, like from 90 to 20%. So we focus on if you're going to eat something decadent, eat 3 bites
Right.
and you
Yeah.
enjoy them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and will you tell the audience, because you told me this great story about you and your dress?
So I had an award ceremony in 2017 when I had lost, when I was down quite a bit, and I had a dress on that I just loved. There's a public figure, and she had a very similar dress, and I said, I love that dress. I wore the dress that night. And I can fit into it again. So whenever during the hypnosis, the meditation, when Rita would say, envision, where you want to be, I always had that dress on because I want to be able to fit back in that dress. A friend of mine, a very good friend and colleague who is now a shifter, she was with me that night. And we did not know this about each other until we started talking. And the dress she had on that night is also her vision of where she wants to be. So we are going to recreate our picture when she gets down and fits into her dress. So that was really neat when we started talking, and she said, "Oh my gosh, that's my vision too, to get into that dress I had on that night," because we both had felt really good in it.
Yeah.
So
That's so cool. I love that. And I
yeah.
love that you're shifting with a friend now. I think it does make a huge difference.
Except she pulls out the lose it at dinner, which when we're
Ah!
out to dinner, and it's like,
She's a newbie.
don't do
No,
it now.
I'm totally kidding. Other than your friend, did you have to wrangle family to support you, or were people fairly supportive of your journey?
I was very private. I'm very private about my journey, but I knew who I could talk to about it because I think one thing, and my friend and I have talked, like when you gain it back, you're embarrassed because you
Mhm.
know that people that they have to notice that, oh, she's gained it back. And so I didn't really say too much to my husband because I'm like, oh, he'll probably think I'll just gain it back again. So I had a few friends, the ones who have also struggled with weight, and I knew that they would. So they're the ones that really, my daughter is very respectful about women's bodies and not mentioning good, bad. And so when I started to release, and she's in her 30s, I said, "Didn't you realize?" She said, "Yes, but I don't think." She just believes you shouldn't comment on a woman's body, whether they lose weight or not. Although she recently told me, "Mom, it is very obvious." So she was just being respectful about that, saying that's just her belief system. But so I really reached out to the few friends I have that have also struggled because they could relate to that.
Yeah, it's such a gaining weight is such a horrific feeling because unlike if you were struggling with like drugs or
Mhm.
alcohol, even you can hide it. Like it's not as
Yes, yes,
visible.
yes.
And the weight thing, it's such a shame spiral with,
Mhm.
I'm not saying drugs and alcohol aren't a shame spiral. There are some
No, I get what you mean.
400% sure.
Mhm.
But the public sort of, you can't hide what you're doing.
Yes, yeah. Yes,
I
absolutely.
remember I remember in a Weight Watchers class, like in the 1970s or 80s, it must have been
Mm.
late 70s. The leader said something about, yeah, it's like when you eat something, it's like, or she was like, but if you ate something and you got polka dots all over you, you might think twice about putting that in your
Mm.
mouth. But sometimes you can fake it till you make it, like you can eat a couple of candy bars and it doesn't immediately show up on the scale. I think that's what she was
Mm.
talking about, but she,
Yeah. You were talking about that today in one of the sessions I listened to, how it may show up 2 days later. It might not
yeah,
show up that day, but a couple days later.
yeah. My God, I know. And oh, did I cheat on in Weight Watchers? Like that was the thing. It's like I would starve the day. Did you
The
starve
day before
the
you
day
were
that you
weighed
would
in.
go? I lived in
Yeah.
Seattle and it was cold and I wore
Yes.
the thinnest pants and this little t-shirt.
Yes, yes. No shoes. Yes. And I said it in one of our meetings one time that it was such when they handed you back your card after you weighed in, when they didn't say anything, you knew my weight's up. And it might only have been up point 0.2 or point 0.8, but
Right.
and I just remember like shame or that disappointment. You thought you had a great week, and I just remember that feeling when they'd hand you back the card and not say anything. And it was like
Yeah.
such a
Oh,
not pleasant feeling. Yeah.
yeah. It's a trigger response, man. It's
Yeah.
oh, and no wonder, yeah, we all have scale issues.
Yeah. But you have helped me to have a much more healthier relationship with the scale.
Yeah.
Like when I get on, and I can be on a plateau like to the ounce on some days. And now I'm obviously maintaining, but just a much healthier. And to look at, I've noticed when I eat out, even if I've eaten very healthy, there's a lot of salt. We guesstimate really when we go to track our food when we're eating out because you don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But I've noticed, and I just say it's got to be salt,
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah, I just have a healthier.
Or just hidden carbs or things like
Yeah,
that. A lot of people don't realize like what,
butter they cook in. Yeah,
yeah, because chefs are so insecure. They need to add salt.
yeah,
My husband was eating something
yeah.
that was, oh, a low carb thing. I don't know what he was
Mm.
eating. Like it was like baked beans or something. And he said, oh, these are no sugar. Have a bite. And I had a bite of them and they were so salty because I think instead of sugar-free stuff, now they put salt in because you need something, right?
Mhm,
Wow, these are so salty. I can't even
mhm.
eat them. But Joanne, I want to talk to you about maintenance. But the scale is like interesting too. I feel like, yeah, I mean, we have such a crazy relationship with it. And but when you do understand, like you're saying, when you know, oh, I've gone out, I've had something to eat, you get on the scale, you're up a couple of pounds, and you are like, that's just because it was salty last night. And there's no
Mhm,
freak out. Oh my God, I gained 2 pounds. There's
mhm,
so much power in that. But the
mhm.
scale isn't always going to tell you reflect accuracy, but it will over time reflect that your gradual release.
Consistency, yeah.
Yeah, consistency.
Mhm.
When you were getting towards maintenance, because I know you've been in maintenance since your birthday in July, which is so when you were getting there, did you have fear? I like to always look at that a few weeks before maintenance.
Yeah,
What came up
yeah.
for you?
I did have fear because it's scary because it was never as hard to take it off as it was to keep it off.
Yes.
That was the hardest part, was keeping it off. So there was some fear in it, but then one day I just said, I have all these tools now that that's given us, all the 9 skills of and all the meditation and the hypno there's just so many things at my fingertips, which I didn't have before. I didn't have a toolbox. Like I have a toolbox now. Is it a little still a little, yeah, a little bit, but I was thinking about it today and I said, I'm doing the same thing that I've been doing since I started. I'm just now maintaining rather than releasing. So I'm looking at it like that, and then I will have to do this. Previously, that was another excuse. Oh, I that's not sustainable for the rest of my life, but it is. I know people who are in AA, they have to use their 12-step program for the rest of their life, and I will have to use my tools for the rest of my life, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're practical tools. And what I have found for me is they are tools that allow me to be my best self. So I don't
Mhm.
mind them because they're
Right.
really focused on my inner freedom. And I think that the longer you're in maintenance, and we were talking before we turned on record, I was saying to Joanne, I think it takes about a year of maintaining before you really have that. Not like that hubris, I've got this, but oh, yeah, like this is mine. I own
Mhm.
this, and this is me, my at my new weight.
One thing that's been incredibly helpful too are the weekly goals, the monthly goals. And I do that now. Even today, it was like for other things in my life, like today was like, okay, my goal is I want to clean the refrigerator today. But just, and now it's okay. One of my goals is a year from now, I'm going to be where I am now. So that's been really healthy to do the weekly goals and to be specific and the monthly goals. That's been really helpful.
Yeah. And what Joanne's talking about too is we have we in the shift we get into parts integration. Like we have this critic, we really work with these ideas, different parts of ourselves, the critic, the rebel, the coach. And when we're developing that powerful coach, because everybody who is listening, you have a powerful inner coach in the areas of your life that work, your coach is loud. But in the area of weight, usually our coach is no voice, and we have a very loud critic and we have a very loud rebel. So in the shift, we're really focusing on developing that inner coach in that part of our life. So what Joanne's talking about is sitting down and creating that intimacy with this part of us. And the way we do that is we'll sit down monthly and go, okay, what's this month about? And what do I want to create? Because it really is a create. And like
Mhm.
you said, for this week, you want to create a clean refrigerator, which I think is awesome. And we don't really in our busy lives prone to do that, is to create our life rather than defensively live it. And
Mhm.
I think that's what sitting down with your coach can start to create, is like the sense of living your life and creating your life rather than waking up and going, how do I defensively, oh, this is happening, let me respond to it, reacting versus acting and creating. So I love that. And I love that you like that structure. It creates a structure to that really is
Mhm.
helpful. Yeah, good.
Right.
I think that, and I do think that I want to ask you if you were talking about exercising. What are you doing for exercise, and how's that changed since you were shifting and into things?
Last summer, I had a heel spur and I couldn't walk much at all. And since I've released weight, my heel spur doesn't hurt at all anymore. So that's great. I walk a lot. I often will go a half hour away to a park. That was a park I went to as a kid. And lately, I've been trying to do 5 miles when I go. And it's got a lot of hills and things. So that's good. And sometimes I walk with friends too. And I just joined the Y because for my birthday, my 65th birthday, I just had, my insurance allowed me a free membership.
Oh,
So
cool.
so last week I tried 6 different classes because I want to try the ones that I really like. I absolutely loved the water aerobics. So I'm going to go back to that. That was a great workout. I'll go back to that this week. And there was a Zumba class I loved. And there was also a line dancing class that I loved because I love those group classes. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Finding out which ones work. And then I also had introduction to some of the weight machines. So I'll be doing that too because my focus now is I want to get stronger. I have a lot of loose skin from
Mm.
releasing weight. So I know we have what we call our bat wings anyways, but mine are I have just a lot of extra loose skin from
Yeah.
releasing weight. I want to just work on my strength now and just getting stronger, especially the upper body. I've never had good upper body strength.
Oh, that's so great. I love that. Yeah. And we are in our membership we're doing a body love challenge, and we're going to focus on one part
Yes.
of our body. And this year,
And that's going to be mine. It's
yeah,
going to be my arms.
I think there's a lot of ladies in our group. We're working
Yeah.
on our wings.
Yeah. But you know what? They're the same arms I hug my grandchildren with. And that's how I think of it. I hug my grandchildren with them. I carry my grands
I'm going to
thinking
say
of
we're
all
just
of
going to fly. I
yeah.
think we should fly with those wings. We're ready to fly. Ladies in flight. So I'm looking forward to that. Well, so my last question, Joanne, and I
Mhm,
want to thank you so much for all you've shared, which is
mhm,
so valuable, is if somebody was struggling for you, because I know you said you had released like 6 pounds before you even started
because I had started walking more. Yeah.
What was that internal decision? Like, what got you going? What got you to take that first? And I'm not talking about shifting step, like
Even
that
before.
internal, okay, I'm worth it, or I want to do this, or I want to take care of myself. What was that?
I think I just want aging healthfully. When just like I said, when I saw pictures of myself and I was mortified, wow, when a friend of mine, I met her for lunch one day and I hadn't seen her in a little bit. And I could tell, and she works out, she had released weight. And so I was like, okay, that I got to get inspired here. So I always tell her, you were an inspiration. That and just wanting to be there for my grandchildren, wanting to be healthy
Mm,
because the more weight we carry, when there's other things there's diabetes, there's health related
all
things.
those things.
Being
Yeah.
the youngest, I also see my older siblings
Oh,
and so I want to be able to age well. So I think it was a combination, and I think when I did get finally brave enough to actually get on the scale, because we talked earlier, sometimes when you're gaining weight, you don't want to get on that scale. But
yeah.
that was scary though, that when I did that and I saw what it was.
But was it helpful in the sense of that it was just like, okay, here's where I am, and
I
here's
got to do something.
yeah.
Yeah.
How much age range is between you and your eldest sibling?
My oldest passed, but there were 14 years from youngest to oldest. So my mom had 9 kids in 14 years. Yeah.
Wow, that poor
I
woman. Oh my God.
know. God love her. Yeah.
There's a comedian who said, yeah, like they were from a family your size, and that was like, yeah, the last kid just walked out.
Yeah. Yep.
I
Uh-huh.
always
Uh,
love that.
yeah.
Boy, that's amazing. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Joanne. It was such a joy to speak with you, and thank you for sharing your.
Thank you, because you have been a lifesaver and it's been wonderful. And I'm like, you can't retire ever. Ever.
I'm not planning on it. It's fortunate. I love what I do. So I keep doing it. Well, thank
And
you.
it's a wonderful community to be in, a wonderful community to be in. And there's just so much support just within the community itself.
We're pretty
It's great.
lucky. We have a lot of amazing people. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Like you.
wonderful. Wonderful process.
Thank you so much for all that you shared today. Thank you so much.
All right. I'll see you soon.
Thank you so much, Joanne. That was so great. Isn't she amazing? And don't you just love that vision that she created with her friend? I really believe in support, and sharing your journey is such a powerful way to move forward, and also to have a buddy who's going to hold you accountable and share all of your milestones with you is just a really great thing. So join us and get the buddies and the coaching and all the support you need to move forward on this powerful journey. www.shiftweightmastery.com/fall. We're still enrolling. There's still a few places left, but they are going away. And we are having an amazing amount of people and coaches in this process. I think this is going to be our best live shift yet. You can join us from your tablet, your desktop, your phone. www.shiftweightmastery.com/fall. And have a great week. And remember that the key, and probably the only key to unlocking the door of the weight struggle, is inside you. So keep listening and find it. And I will see you here next week. Do you want to dive deeper into the mindset of long-term weight release? Head on over to www.shiftweightmastery.com. That's www.shiftweightmastery.com, where you'll find numerous tools and resources to help you unlock your mind for permanent weight release, tips, strategies, and more. And be sure to check the show notes to learn more about my book, From Fat to Thin Thinking: Unlock Your Mind for Permanent Weight Loss.